Order, honorable members. Order, honorable members. Honorable Mantashe.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, Mamtoko Titiza, Chairperson of the National Council of Provinces, Umerifilwe Mtsweni-Tsipane, the President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa, the Deputy President of the Republic, His Excellency Paul Spokoshe Mashatile, honorable members of this House. We start this debate with a big temptation to engage one another on peripheral battles and imagined battles, rather than focusing on the task at hand. And we have chosen not to succumb to that temptation, Honorable President, and not to play to the gallery, but opted to engage on real important issues.
Honorable Mantashe, can you take your seat? What is the point of order, Honorable Mantashe?
Speaker, I wanted to check if it's parliamentary for Honorable Mantashe to put the wrong button in the wrong.
Order, honorable members. Order. Honorable Josie, can you please...
I'm protecting the dignity of GNU now.
Honorable Josie. Honorable Josie. Honorable members, can we take ourselves seriously and each other seriously too? This is an important debate, and I don't think it is an honor for each one of us to actually cast aspersion or to actually impugn on another person's character. Honorable Mantashe,
no, but that was a joke.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Rosie, for helping me out. Thank you. So, the real challenge facing us in this House is to put our heads together and find lasting solutions to massive problems facing our country. Shadow boxing is not a helpful approach to that. It's better to be in the ring and battle on real issues. It is in this context that I will focus on one apex priority that the Cabinet of National Unity has announced by the President. I'm focusing on the inclusive economic growth and employment creation. That is quite important. It's a burning crisis for the country. The National Development Plan 2030 enjoins us to eliminate poverty, reduce inequality, and make it a priority for all of us to create employment opportunity for the people of South Africa. If we subscribe to the objectives of the NDP and agree that we have a collective responsibility to address high unemployment, we must therefore put our heads together and come up with formula that will work and ensure employment is created. To this end, I'm going to focus on the primary sectors of the economy. Primary sectors of the economy are important in the sense that it is strong primary sectors that will ensure that there is sustainable secondary and tertiary development in the economy. So those primary sectors are mining, agriculture, and petroleum. Those are primary sectors of the economy. And therefore, in our view, we need to deal with them, address them decisively to set a foundation for secondary and tertiary economic development in the country. And then we must also respond to the outcry of our people that our jobs are being taken by foreign nationals. It's a cry. It is not getting the right interpretation. The reality of the matter is, it is the bottom end of the labor market that needs our attention. For example, we support the visa regime as envisaged to attract skills and investment into the economy. We support that fully. But we say it should be complemented by us paying attention to the fact that at the lower end of the market, we're not paying attention. And that is where the employment crisis is. In other words, we make the point that it is not xenophobic to say, please protect sectors that do not want complicated skills. That will be your hospitality. It will be your hospitality, it will be your farm work, it will be your construction. And I'm sure people who took time to monitor the George crisis and disaster, you will know that it exposed our laxity in dealing with construction sector as a sector. And the attractiveness of employers is that those sectors, it's easy to invite anybody at substandard wage rates. And it is this government that has a responsibility to deal with that issue and monitor it. Now, every time I go to a restaurant, I won't mention the names because I normally say it's upmarket when it is not in the upmarket. That is the legacy of being a rural boy. But you go to a restaurant, I hardly get served by a South African. We can't accept that. You go to a farm, including shepherds and actually people who look after livestock in rural areas are attracted from the neighboring countries, and we say we have an unemployment crisis, we must deal with that issue. So, having said that, it is quite important, therefore, that we confront the question of cheap labor being an attractive alternative to employment creation. We must deal with that issue. Now, we must draw a lesson from the mining sector. It's a sector I worked in, which used to have 70% of its workforce from the neighboring countries. Today, that portion is less than 20%. And there is a process that took us to that stage, and that process can be used as a lesson to educate us in dealing with challenges facing our society. For us, in the mining sector, as we set sights on addressing obstacles granting mining permits and licenses, we must translate this emergence of new mines irrespective of size. If we accelerate dealing with the backlogs, new mines must be built and people must be employed. We firmly believe that the 400 million seed capital provided by the department working with IDC is a good start, because mining starts with exploration where you discover quantity and quality of a mineral. Then you can mine and then you can process, it goes on. And linked to this is the question of supporting the artisanal mines. We're going to go to the many financial institutions and companies to support that initiative where we train artisanal miners. Many people ask me, what is an artisanal miner? I say it's a miner who uses chisel and hammer to mine. That section of the workforce is going to deal with a problem which attracts illegal mining, sterilizing marginal deposits of the mine. And therefore, those must be used to expand the labor base of the mining industry. Honorable Speaker, our country is endowed with petroleum deposits that are not yet exploited. We appeal to all South Africans to appreciate that our quest for exploration of oil and gas deposits is not a nice to have. It is important to turn around the composition of our economy, and therefore that will translate into the growth of the economy. And it will require another additional intervention. Let's deal with foreign-funded NGOs that block exploration of gas and oil, because that is blocking economic development. And we must confront it and deal with it and allow that. That doesn't mean we are not serious about responsible mining and exploration. Do that, but don't block development, because employment is a function of economic growth and development. So we're making that submission. The justice system must also look into that reality of a view to find solution to these cases up in court, because they go to court. NI, which moved to Cote d'Ivoire, was taken to court 67 times. It packed their suitcases and went to Cote d'Ivoire and made huge discoveries of oil in Cote d'Ivoire. Let's deal with that. So the justice system must accelerate the process. We must therefore accept unreservedly the need to responsible mining and petroleum exploration. That is conscious preserving the environment while accelerating development. Beneficiation is an issue that has been in our vocabulary for many years, and it is time for it to be implemented practically. Beneficiation, sometimes a nice word, but its meaning is value addition. We must not export raw commodities as they are. We must add value here and not export jobs. But there are interventions that must be done. There are interventions that must be done there. The first one is that for beneficiation to happen, we must have reliable, efficient, and affordable electricity supply. Because if you don't have that, beneficiation will collapse. Number two, we should actually have an incentive scheme for beneficiation. Beneficiation is an economic activity in the value chain of mining, and it should be treated as a business. Therefore, incentives are important for that section. That may include granting tax holidays to attract beginning of that sector. It can also mean taxing exports to discourage export of raw commodities. And therefore, we must engage the business to introduce a particular electricity dispensation. For example, there's nothing wrong in developing a commodity price-linked electricity tariffs. We did have it in this country. We can look into those alternatives. Now, as we address the question of unemployment and develop framework for inclusive economic growth, we should bear in mind that involving black South Africans in economic activity is not a favor. Okay? It's not a favor. It is a necessary intervention, because for many years South Africans were not active in the economic activity. Therefore, the question of black economic empowerment and affirmative action is a necessary intervention in the economy. Now, access to land, I'm not talking the same way as Honorable Shope, not the same. But the point I'm making is access to land is a capital asset for economic activity. Therefore, it is going to be important for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I now call upon